There comes a moment in every man's journey when words grow tired, when efforts seem to fall on deaf ears, and when love, no matter how genuine, is met with indifference. It is in this moment that you must ask yourself a difficult but necessary question. What happens when she no longer feels what it's like to lose you? This is not a call to bitterness or to break bonds in anger. No, this is a call to awaken, to reclaim your dignity, and to step into the fullness of the man God created you to be. The reason you must hear this today is because your heart, your spirit, and your future depend on it. Your life will never be the same if you continue to give your all without being seen or valued. Too often, men lose themselves in the pursuit of love, forgetting that love is meant to be mutual, a dance between two souls, not a one-sided struggle. You've tried to fill her world with your kindness, your patience, and your understanding. Yet, what do you do when the light you shine is ignored? When the door you knock on remains closed? It is here that the wisdom of stepping back emerges, not as defeat, but as strength. When you let her feel the absence of your presence, you are not pushing her away. Instead, you are allowing the truth of what you bring to life to become clear. Sometimes, absence speaks louder than presence ever could. There is a sacred value in boundaries. They are not walls built to isolate, but fences that protect your heart. When you refuse to be taken for granted, you honor yourself as God's creation, valuable, strong, and worthy of respect. Love without respect is a barren field, and no matter how much seed you sow, it will not bear fruit. Letting her experience what life is like without you is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of self-respect. It is a declaration that your love is not a currency to be spent without return, but a treasure meant to be cherished. This act of stepping back is also a call for her to wake up, to see the man you are when you are not bending over backwards to fit into a mold that doesn't recognize your worth. It is a chance for her to reflect on the love she has been given and to question if she is ready to meet you halfway. And if she is not, then it is a chance for you to find peace in walking away with your head held high, knowing that your value is not diminished by rejection. Remember, you were made to be a man of strength, dignity, and purpose. You were not created to beg for affection or to live in the shadow of someone who fails to appreciate your light. When you let her feel what life is like without you, you are reclaiming the man God designed, one who walks in clarity, leads with courage, and loves with a heart full but guarded. It is a powerful statement that you will no longer settle for less than what you deserve. Finally, what happens when you step back? The space you create may be the silence that awakens her heart, or the clarity that frees yours. It may be the moment of reckoning she needs, or the moment you begin a new chapter of your life, one written not in desperation, but in hope and faith. Let this be a time of transformation, not just for her, but for you. Because in letting her feel life without you, you may just find the life you were meant to live. Too often, men find themselves trapped in a cycle of giving and hoping, pouring their hearts and souls into someone who may not recognize their true value. This can lead to a silent cry within, a deep longing not just for love, but for acknowledgement of who they really are. The journey toward understanding your self-worth begins with a simple but profound realization. Your value does not depend on the presence or approval of another person. When a man ties his worth to the affection of someone else, he risks losing sight of the unique purpose and identity that define him. It's easy to forget, in the midst of heartache and struggle, that you were created with intention and meaning, equipped with gifts and strengths that no one else possesses. This realization is not born out of arrogance, but humility, a recognition that your life matters beyond any single relationship or circumstance. When you begin to see yourself through this lens, you shift from desperation to dignity. The silent cry of self-worth often goes unheard, because it is muffled by the noise of disappointment, by the stories we tell ourselves about not being enough or not being wanted. But it is there, persistent and true, calling you to a higher understanding of who you are. It asks you to stop chasing validation and start pursuing authenticity. This cry demands that you look inward and rediscover the qualities that make you whole, qualities that are not contingent on someone else's affection, but on your own integrity, your faith, your values. It is a call to remember that love is not about losing yourself, but about finding yourself in the midst of connection. When you lose yourself trying to hold on to someone who doesn't value you, you suffer not only a loss of love, but a loss of identity. Understanding your self-worth means breaking free from the patterns that bind you. It means recognizing when you are giving too much, forgiving too easily, or staying too long in a place where your heart is not honored. It means having the courage to stand alone if necessary, knowing that your worth is intact, whether or not someone chooses to walk beside you. This is a difficult path because it requires honesty and sometimes painful choices, but it is also a path to freedom. It is a journey away from dependence on others and toward reliance on the strength that lies within you, a strength that no absence or rejection can diminish. When you embrace this truth, you no longer need to prove your value. You simply live it. The silent cry of self-worth also calls for patience and compassion toward yourself. It is not a call to harsh judgment or self-condemnation, but to gentle encouragement and growth. It reminds you that you are a work in progress, evolving through every experience, every heartbreak, every victory. It asks you to forgive yourself for past mistakes and to honor the lessons they bring. This cry is the voice of hope, whispering that you are more than your failures, more than your hurts, more than any moment of feeling unseen or unwanted. It is a call to rise up and reclaim the narrative of your life, to tell a story of resilience, faith, and worthiness that no one else can rewrite. There is a profound power in absence, a force that can shake the foundations of complacency and awaken hearts that have grown numb. When someone is constantly present, their presence can become invisible, not because it is unimportant, but because familiarity dulls the senses. This is true in relationships as it is in life. The steady presence of a person can sometimes be taken for granted, their value unnoticed until they are no longer there. The wake-up call of absence is a divine paradox. It is through what is, missing that we often come to understand what was truly there. For a man caught in the struggle of feeling unappreciated, the choice to step away is not an act of abandonment, but a courageous invitation to be seen. It is a way of saying, without words, "This is what you have when I am here, and this is what you will face when I am not." Absence then becomes a mirror reflecting truths that presence could not reveal. This wake-up call is painful because it forces both parties to confront reality without the comfort of constant interaction. It is in the quiet spaces created by absence that reflection occurs. For the woman who has grown accustomed to the love and support given without hesitation, the void left behind challenges her to reconsider what she has been given. It prompts questions that may have gone unanswered. Did I truly appreciate him? Did I take his love for granted? Was I present in the way he needed? Sometimes, only the emptiness can speak loudly enough to be heard over the noise of daily life and distraction. This absence is not punishment. It is an opportunity for growth, for awakening, and for realignment of hearts and priorities. For the man, choosing absence is an act of self-preservation and empowerment. It is a recognition that love given without reciprocity can drain the soul and diminish one's sense of self. When a man steps back and lets his presence be missed, he reclaims a part of himself that was lost in the effort to hold on too tightly. This space is necessary for healing and clarity, allowing him to remember who he is beyond the relationship, his dreams, his values, and his strength. It is a courageous stand that says, "I will not settle for less than what I deserve." This absence is not a threat, but a testimony to the truth that love cannot thrive without respect and mutual care. the wake-up call of absence also carries a spiritual dimension. It echoes the wisdom found throughout life's sacred teachings that sometimes separation is needed for reconciliation. When two hearts are too close, they may lose sight of their individual paths. Distance, then, is not defeat, but preparation, a sacred pause that invites both to return with renewed appreciation or to find peace apart. This absence can clear away illusions and bring to light the reality of the relationship. It can reveal whether love was genuine or merely convenience, whether commitment was true or conditional. It is in this space that the heart either wakes up to new possibilities or chooses to let go. In the end, the wake-up call of absence is about truth. Truth spoken in silence and felt in the emptiness left behind. It is a powerful tool that, when wielded with wisdom and grace, can transform pain into purpose and loss into liberation. It is a reminder that sometimes, to be truly seen and valued, one must first be missed. Love, in its truest and most sacred form, is meant to be a journey shared by two hearts walking side by side, not a path traveled by one while the other watches from afar. When love becomes a one-way road, it loses its beauty and its power, turning instead into a burden carried by the heart that gives without receiving. Too many men find themselves trapped in this painful reality, pouring out their love, their time, their energy, only to feel unseen, unheard, or unreciprocated. It is a lonely road to walk, one that wears down the spirit and steals the joy that love is supposed to bring. The truth that must be embraced is this: love is not meant to be a sacrifice without reward, nor a river flowing endlessly in one direction. It is meant to be a sacred exchange, a meeting place of hearts and souls that both give and take. When you love someone, it is natural and beautiful to want to give freely, to offer your kindness, your patience, and your devotion without hesitation. Yet the danger lies in giving so much that you lose sight of your own worth, hoping that your love alone will be enough to keep the relationship alive. This hope, noble as it may be, can lead to a painful imbalance. If your love is building, a bridge only from your side, if you are the only one reaching across the divide, then that bridge will never truly connect. Instead, it will crumble under the weight of expectation and unmet needs. Love thrives on reciprocity. It flourishes when both hearts are committed to building and maintaining the connection together. This is not to say that love should be transactional or conditional, but rather that mutual effort is essential. Both partners must be willing to show up, to listen, to care, and to invest in the relationship. Without this, love becomes a one-sided story, a narrative of longing and disappointment. For a man who finds himself constantly giving without receiving, it becomes clear that his love, no matter how genuine, is not being met with the same dedication. This realization is difficult, but it is necessary. To continue loving in this way is to risk losing not only the relationship but also your sense of self. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot sustain a love that only flows in one direction. Recognizing that love should not be a one-way road is an act of wisdom and self-respect. It is the moment when a man stops making excuses for neglect or indifference and starts demanding the respect he deserves. It is the courage to say, "I will no longer be the only one fighting for this love." This declaration is not a threat or an ultimatum. It is a boundary born from understanding your own value. When love is mutual, it lifts both people up, inspiring growth, joy, and deep connection. When it is one-sided, it drains and diminishes. Ultimately, love is a shared journey, one where both partners meet each other's needs, celebrate each other's victories, and carry each other through challenges. It is a path built on partnership, trust, and respect. If you find yourself walking that road alone, it may be time to pause, to reflect, and to ask whether the love you are giving is being returned. Because love, in its purest form, is never meant to be a lonely road to travel alone. Boundaries are often misunderstood. Many see them as walls meant to keep others out, as signs of selfishness or rejection, but the truth is far different. Boundaries are one of the most profound expressions of love. Love for yourself and love for others. When you establish clear boundaries, you are not shutting someone away. You are protecting the sacred space of your heart and mind. You are saying, I am worthy of respect, kindness, and honor. Without boundaries, love becomes vulnerable to misuse, neglect, and imbalance. You open yourself fully, only to find your generosity taken for granted or even abused. This is why boundaries are essential. They guard the dignity of the relationship and the dignity of the individual. When you let her feel what life is like without you, you are not punishing her, but lovingly showing what happens when respect and care are absent. Setting boundaries requires courage, because it often means standing firm against the tide of expectation or disappointment. It means saying no when you want to say yes out of fear of losing love. It means protecting your heart even when the world tells you to give more, forgive more, or tolerate more. But true love does not demand the sacrifice of your peace or identity. Boundaries remind both people in a relationship that love is not about possession or control, but about mutual respect and freedom. They help create a safe environment where both partners can grow individually and together. When a man chooses to step back, allowing her to feel life without him, he is establishing a boundary that says, I will not be diminished. I will not be taken for granted. This act of stepping back is a message far more powerful than any words spoken in anger or frustration. It is a silent declaration that love must be honored, that the connection must be reciprocal, and that your presence is not something to be casually overlooked. Boundaries are a way of saying, I love you enough to require respect, and I love myself enough to enforce it. They are not about selfishness, but about balance. Without boundaries, love can become a trap, a place where one person gives endlessly while the other takes without giving back. This imbalance leads to resentment, exhaustion, and ultimately, the erosion of love itself. The beauty of boundaries is that they invite clarity. When you create space, it becomes clear who values you and who does not. It becomes evident who is willing to meet you with respect and who is comfortable taking without giving. Boundaries illuminate the health of a relationship by revealing where love is genuine and where it is conditional. They offer a chance for both people to reflect on their actions and choices. For her, feeling life without you may be the wake-up call needed to understand your worth and the value of the love you have given. For you, it is a moment of empowerment to reclaim your identity and refuse to settle for less. Boundaries are also a form of grace. They give room for growth, healing, and sometimes reconciliation. When set with wisdom and love, boundaries are not the end, but a new beginning, an invitation for the relationship to be rebuilt on a foundation of respect and equality. They remind us that love is not about losing ourselves in another, but about coming together as whole, healthy individuals who choose each other freely and fully. When you let her feel what life is like without you, you are not closing a door but opening the possibility for something better, whether that is healing, renewal, or the strength to walk away with peace. There is a deep and powerful call within every man to live as the person he was created to be, to walk in strength, purpose, and integrity. But too often, men lose sight of this calling when caught in the turmoil of a relationship that demands more than they can give or that diminishes their true self. When love becomes a battlefield of sacrifice and pain, it is easy to forget that you were not made to beg for affection or to lose yourself trying to hold on to someone who does not cherish you. Reclaiming the man God made you to be means remembering your worth and standing firm in the identity that was placed within you before any relationship began. It is a call to rise above the insecurity, the doubt, and the desperation that can cloud your vision and rob you of your peace. This reclamation begins with a recognition that your value is not dependent on approval from others, especially not from someone who fails to honor your presence. You were created with purpose, endowed with gifts, and given a destiny that is unique and powerful. When you begin to live from this truth, you stop shrinking yourself to fit into the mold of what someone else wants you to be. You stop chasing approval and start walking in authenticity. This is not always easy. It requires courage to shed the layers of fear and hurt that have built up over time and to face the truth about yourself and your situation honestly. But it is necessary for growth and freedom. Reclaiming your identity also means embracing the strength to say no, to refuse to be diminished by neglect, indifference, or disrespect. It means standing firm on your boundaries and refusing to settle for less than the love and respect you deserve. This strength is not about pride or stubbornness. It is about self-respect and faith in the life that lies ahead. You do not have to live in the shadow of rejection or disappointment. Instead, you can step into the light of who you were always meant to be. A man who leads with courage, loves with an open heart, and walks with dignity. This is the man God made you to be. There is also a spiritual dimension to this reclamation. It is a return to the source of your strength, a renewal of your faith in the greater plan for your life. When you reclaim yourself, you invite God's purpose to be fulfilled in you. You begin to live not by the approval of the world, but by the affirmation of your Creator. This shifts your perspective from loss to hope, from despair to expectation. You start to see that your worth is not measured by one relationship, but by the value you carry as a beloved child of God. This realization brings peace that surpasses understanding and a confidence that cannot be shaken by circumstances. Reclaiming. The man you were made to be also means embracing growth. It means learning from the pain, forgiving where necessary, and moving forward with wisdom. It means becoming a better version of yourself, not for her, but for you. It means walking forward with a clear heart, knowing that your best days are still ahead and that your identity is intact regardless of what has been lost. This is a journey of restoration and empowerment, a reclaiming of your rightful place in your own life and in the world. Stepping back from someone you love is never an easy choice. It can feel like walking away from hope, like surrendering to loss, or like admitting defeat. Yet stepping back is not always about giving up. Sometimes it is the most powerful act of love and self-respect you can offer, to her and to yourself. When you create space by withdrawing your constant presence, you open the door to a new reality, one where clarity can emerge and true feelings can be revealed. It is in the quiet and the distance that the heart often speaks its most honest language, and the soul comes face to face with its deepest longings and fears. What happens when you step back is a test of love, of commitment, and of the true nature of your connection. For her, your absence may stir feelings that were buried beneath the surface. She may feel the weight of loneliness, the echo of your laughter missing from the daily routine, and the void left by your absence. Sometimes, only when what was familiar is gone, do we truly understand its value. This space can serve as a mirror reflecting the depth of what she had but may have taken for granted. It can awaken a renewed appreciation, a desire to fight for what was once lost, or a painful realization of what she was unwilling to fully receive. Your stepping back challenges her to face the reality of life without you, a reality that can either rekindle love or reveal uncomfortable truths. This process can be transformative, forcing a reckoning with feelings that words alone could not summon. For you, stepping back is a journey inward as much as it is outward. It is a moment of reclaiming your own identity outside the relationship, remembering your worth, and allowing yourself the space to heal and grow. In this quiet, you may find the strength that was hidden beneath disappointment, the clarity that was clouded by pain, and the courage to move forward with purpose. It is an opportunity to reconnect with your own hopes and dreams, to listen to the whisper of your soul, and to stand tall in the truth of who you are. Stepping back does not mean closing the door on love. It means opening the door to your own life, and well-being, with faith that what is meant for you will not pass you by. This space also tests the nature of the relationship itself. It reveals whether love was truly mutual or merely convenient. It shows who is willing to invest, to communicate, and to grow. Stepping back can either bring healing and renewal or bring clarity and closure. Either way, it serves a purpose far greater than comfort or avoidance. It is a call to authenticity, urging both people to confront what is real rather than what is comfortable. It is a chance to reset, to redefine boundaries, and to choose paths that honor both hearts. Ultimately, what happens when you step back is a transformation. It is a turning point where silence speaks volumes, where absence shines a light on truth, and where new possibilities begin to take shape. It is an act of faith that love, in whatever form it takes, will either find its way back or make room for something better. It is a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest love you can show is to let go, so that both of you may find what you truly need. In the journey of love, there comes a time when stepping back is not just necessary but sacred. It is in this space of absence that true value is revealed. Both the value she holds for you and the value you hold for yourself. Letting her feel what life is like without you is not an act of pride or punishment, but a courageous declaration of your worth, your dignity, and the kind of love you deserve. It is a call to remember that love must be mutual, that boundaries are essential, and that reclaiming your identity is the first step toward healing and hope. When you give yourself the grace to step back, you create room for reflection, growth, and truth. Love is never meant to be a one-way street or a sacrifice of your soul. It is a partnership rooted in respect, honor, and shared devotion. So stand firm in your worth, hold fast to your boundaries, and trust that by letting go, you are opening the door to a future where love is reciprocated, where hearts meet as equals, and where your value is never overlooked. In this sacred space of absence, both you and she have the chance to see clearly, to grow deeply, and to choose wisely. May you have the courage to step back, the wisdom to wait, and the faith that what is truly meant for you will never pass you by. Remember, sometimes the greatest act of love is to let go, not because you want to lose, but because you know you deserve to win in the truest sense of the word, to win peace, respect, and a love that honors your worth. Thank you.